Even people from Chennai, right? When they get married, they worry a lot about the brand name, the tag, the label. They would rather spend a lot more money on a Sabyasachi outfit than spend half of the money for a local designer. So, which is something that I've found very difficult to digest. And I understand it's their wedding, they should wear what they want to wear. But when there is other functions and other events where they can support local talent, I really think people should take a look and notice the local talent and appreciate and support them.
So that's Ashwin Thiyagarajan, a really chilled out and fun guy to talk to. Earlier this year, he made headlines when his ensemble was seen on the Oscars red carpet. The flirty sherwani with feminine pleats was sported by Oscar-nominated director Sami Khan. Over the years, when I've come across Ashwin's designs, I found them simple but elegant, understated yet fun. So I decided to catch up with him and find out what gets him in the right headspace when he sits down to create. Come join me. The conversation is peppered with laughter. So Ashwin, you're a boy who grew up in Mylapore in a traditional middle-class family. You studied engineering and then went and worked at Infosys.
Correct.
And in fact, you even mentioned that when you told your parents about fashion, they said, no, that's not happening.
Yeah. So initially, so they knew that I had a flair for fashion even when I was in my high school. They knew that I liked it. I kept telling them that I wanted to join NIFT. Okay. But then it was not very well received by my family because they always thought of it as not a profession that has, longevity per se. So they thought it's not going to give you a long-lasting career. So, and unfortunately, in my 12th grade, I scored 89%, which according to my family is really, really low.
Oh, okay. I thought it was good.
It's really low. The fact that it was anything below 90 is like not acceptable. So I had to just keep my mouth shut and do whatever they asked me to do, which was engineering, electronics and electrical engineering at JPR Engineering College.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But when did you realize you had a knack for designing clothes?
I've always known, in the sense, like ever since I was a kid, I always told my sister or my mom what to wear. And so my grandmother used to tell me that when I wake up after my mom's gone to work, when I wake up after she's gone to work, the first question I asked my grandmother was, what did my mom wear to work? So I had so much of flair for clothes and colors and textures, even when I was a kid. So I started sketching designs and clothes per se, and I had about 5 to 6 books full of sketches when I was in my 10th grade. By the time I was in 10th, I had so many sketches done.
Okay.
But I did not have the ability to sew them or bring them to life. So that was the point where I was stuck at. So when I thought, okay, there is no way in hell I'm going to learn sewing, so I'll just do it, like I'll just keep sketching and see where it goes. So that was my thought process when I used to sketch, basically.
Okay. So you're working in Infosys as a programmer, and I read that you actually had your friend was one you decided to gift your friend a dress, and that's how it slowly started off. And by word of mouth, others came to know about your designs and your work.
Correct,
but did you ever feel like not having a degree in fashion was a deterrent?
So if I were to apply, so I was initially, when I started designing and then when I was looking at transitioning from IT into fashion, I was considering taking up a course. And I wanted to do it abroad, not in Chennai, not in India, because I thought I'll get a lot more exposure and I'll get to learn a lot more techniques and all of that. So when I was applying, they had asked me for a diploma in fashion at least. So that was the only point where I felt it was a deterrent. But when I decided, okay, higher studies is not going to work out, because I was 22 by this time I started thinking about transitioning into fashion. And by that time, I've become one of the main earning members of the family, and I felt like I needed to support. I can't just go away and take another loan and all of that. So
Right.
I decided to start my own brand. When I started my own brand, I don't think the lack of a degree was in any way a deterrent, because practical knowledge is completely different from theoretical knowledge.
Yeah.
And so I learned through my mistakes, and when I learned through my mistakes, the lesson is imprinted much harder in my memory than I would learn it theoretically. So I don't think in any way fashion and not having a degree was determined for me at all.
Okay. And
Yeah.
for someone so young to enter into the industry, you were actually lucky to have a mentor. You said in Sydney Sladen. Could
Yes.
you tell
Yeah.
me how that came about?
Sure. So Sydney and I were good friends. We used to hang out a lot. We used to go out together and all of that. We and a few other boys. So he knew of me, and so the person that I used to design with was Ganesh. So he's the one who learned, who knew how to sew, and he brought my designs to life. And so he knew both of us, and he saw some of our clothes, and he kept telling me, you know what, it's actually nice. I see something in you. And I never took it seriously until he gave me a fashion show.
Yeah.
It was in 2014, and beginning of 2014, he called me and he said, "There's a fashion show coming up. Get your clothes ready." I said, "That's crazy." He said there was 10 days. I was like, 10 days, 12 pieces of clothes. It's not happening. And he was like, "There's no way. There's supermodels coming from Mumbai, and you have to get this done." And he hung up. I didn't take it seriously. I was like, no, it's not going to happen. In my first ever debut collection, I'm not going to rush it in 10 days and do it. And I did not even start. So 4 days before the show, he calls me and he's like, "So how's the collection coming up?" I was like, "What collection?" And then he went on a rampage. He yelled at me. He scolded me. He's like, "What is wrong with you? I'm giving such a huge, good opportunity. You need to use it. You need to make it, use of it." So that's when I really knew that he was actually serious about putting me in a fashion show. It was not,
Yeah.
he didn't do it for the sake of it. He could have given that opportunity to a lot of people that he knew, but he decided to give it to me because he saw something in me, which till date I extremely appreciate and I'm extremely grateful for. And so I did my first ever collection in literally 4 days, no sleep, no food, nothing. It was quite an experience.
It was a bridal fashion week, right?
Correct. Yes. It was
Yeah.
a Silk Marks Bridal Fashion Week. Yes.
Okay. And after the designer walk, you cried. After you got off the stage, you cried to your friend Ganesh. What
Yes.
was that
Yes.
moment like?
It was surreal. I did not expect to cry at all. And so especially when I've never even done what to say, something like a fashion show ever. This was the first time I'm doing a fashion show, and it had like a packed audience, and it was in front of the who's who of the in Chennai fashion scene, and I was nervous. A lot of things was going on in my mind. But when I finished that designer walk, I just felt, did this really just happen? I couldn't even believe it. And Ganesh and I started our journey together in fashion, but unfortunately we couldn't continue the journey because of our differences, and we didn't work together well as a team. So we
Okay.
had to split. And by the time I did the fashion show, we were not working together. I was working separately. He was working separately, but he did help me supervise the collection. He was there with me all 2 to 3 days and to help me put the things together, basically.
Okay.
So I think the outburst had a few reasons. One, it was surreal. I couldn't believe what just happened. Two, I couldn't have him be a part of it. So those two things were kind of like in my mind, and the both of us just bawled our eyes out in front of everyone.
So it was after this moment, it was when you did the complete transition to fashion. You quit your job.
Yes, funny story. So I had to take 4 days off before the fashion show in order to make the collection, and I had told my manager that I was not well or some excuse I had given, and
Okay.
so I did the fashion show, and I was like, okay, cool, it went well, and all of that. So the next day in the newspaper, it's in the front page, me walking with two models. And I had to go back to work and face my manager. And I just met him, and I just was honest with him. I told him, "Listen, this is what happened, and I'm looking at transitioning, and I need to really to do this. And he was very understanding. He was a very nice man. So he said, okay, cool. You can put down your papers and serve in your spirit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how did your family take it? Because you said you are the main earning member at that point.
I wasn't the main. I was also one of the main. My dad and I
Okay.
were both earning. Yeah.
Okay.
So my family was extremely skeptical. But when they saw the fashion show, when they saw the, how the audience received it, and the feedback that I received, that my parents witnessed, that sort of instilled some confidence in them, and they felt like, you know what, maybe my son is good at this. And even the designs per se, I don't think it was anything that they have seen before in either in movies or anything. So they were
Right.
pleasantly surprised, and they said, you know what, we are behind you, go for it. So the fashion show made a turning point in terms of my parents, coming on board.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did it take for you to, start gaining traction in the fashion world?
Um, I think I was very lucky in that sense, because it didn't take a lot of time, and it happened sort of organically,
Okay.
where I didn't try to push my brand too much and try to sell it too much. What I did was I concentrated on my work, and I just put my work out there. Good or bad, how the photos came up, I did not put too much of detail into it. I did the best I could, and I put it up out there.
Okay.
So, again, through word of mouth and through Instagram, social media, basically, it sort of gained a little bit of reach. And then models started approaching me saying that, you know what, let's work together. Models as in the A-list models in Chennai, like who are like really doing well in the scene.
Okay.
So, and that happened. And then, we started working together, and then celebrities like actors and actresses saw that, and they reached out to me, and stylists saw that, reached out to me. Everything all happened very organically, very beautifully, without me having to try too hard, which I'm extremely grateful and lucky for.
That's great, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what gets you in the zone to start designing?
Oh, just about anything and everything. I will be in the middle of the sleep one night, and suddenly like a design will appear in my head, and I will wake up immediately and sketch it out, because if I don't sketch it out right now, I might forget it.
Yeah.
So a design could appear, happen to me anytime, anywhere. Even if I'm on a vacation, something hits me, I just sketch it down right away, because you can't trust that you will remember it once you go back home.
Yeah.
So I tend to just sit and sketch it right away. And I don't need to be in a specific mood or a specific, setting in terms of, the environment. Anywhere, anything, as long as my mind's functioning, I'll be able to sketch and do my work.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you start sketching or designing your pieces, do you have like a certain worry at the back of your head when I put it out there, when it's ready? Will people say it's inspired by someone, or do you have to like do some research to ensure such designs happen? Because sometimes, designs can overlap.
Correct.
So do you have that nagging worry in your head? Oh, what if someone says, oh, this look was inspired by this designer?
Okay. So I was worried up until one point. So I did a photo shoot with two models, and I did it in Egmore Museum,
Okay.
which had a big staircase, and I had gotten jewelry sponsored by this particular brand called Rimley, and the photos came out great. But when I looked at the photos, I was suddenly taken aback, and I said, okay, this looks like a Sabyasachi photo shoot, because I felt like the models, the way they were posing, the jewelry, the clothes were nothing like his.
Okay.
But the composition of the picture looked a lot like his. So that's when I realized, okay, without my knowledge, I may have been inspired by his photo shoots.
Yeah.
So at that very moment, I went and unfollowed all the designers that I follow on Instagram, so that I don't want to be influenced in any which way possible. And after that, I stopped worrying, because, if creative coincidences occur, I can't help it. As long as I'm not, consciously taking somebody else's design and deriving something out of it. If creative coincidences occur, there's nothing you can do about it. But I intentionally I'm very cautious about having my own sense of design and my own aesthetics in my clothes.
Okay. So in that same topic, are you a fan of Diet Sabia?
Oh yes, I am. Yeah, but I haven't been following much now, but I definitely am. It's calling out. Plagiarism is extremely important. I'm glad somebody is doing that. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
my
true.
own clothes have been plagiarized so much on all these. I keep getting messages from people like well-wishers on Instagram saying this particular web page is selling your clothes and putting it up as your picture. I sort of like try to contact them, every now and then I get the notification. But then, how much can you do?
Yeah,
How
that's
many
true.
how many people can you sort of like keep a tab on and keep telling them, please don't post, or please don't. Beyond a point, is you don't have any control, and you just let it go, and you concentrate on your work. You create new stuff every day and every collection possible, and if people have the talent to plagiarize it, I don't know. Even the play, what to say, the ones that do sell your clothes as their clothes, somehow the output will show that it is not the original design,
Yeah.
and nobody can do your outfit the way you do it, because the amount of care and technique that you apply into every garment. I don't think anyone can just know from seeing a picture of it. So
Right.
I have that confidence, so I'm not too worried about that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Do you feel the pressure of coming out with a new collection every season?
No, not at all.
Not at all, no.
Not
What
at
if
all. No.
you just go dry with your ideas and, and you feel nothing is flowing?
Fingers crossed that hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
So even with this lockdown where I've not been working at all, like zilch, because I can't work, my store is shut, and I can't produce garments.
Right.
But even now, sometimes I wonder, will I lose it? But every now and then I keep sketching. Almost every other day I sketch in the night or during when I wake up. Just even without me trying, designs occur in my head and I start sketching it out.
I actually wanted to ask you that. How are you staying inspired to sketch? Because it's not like you're seeing anything new or doing anything new. Every day it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So where do you get your inspiration from?
Inspiration could be anything. It can, for me, it could come from a stone, it could come from a bench, it could come from like the concept of grills. It can be anything. So and it hits me very often. It's not like it hits me like it takes a while. It hits me very often, and when it hits me, I take that chance and I just put it into sketches. Like, I don't waste any time, and all it has to hit me is that if the concept hits me, that's it. I can come up with 10 to 15 sketches like at once without having to worry too much. So
Yeah.
luckily, I still have that, and I really, really, really hope I never get dry of that.
Okay. I want to talk about your Oscar moment, obviously.
Yes.
So yeah, when Venk Modur told you he wants a suit done for Sami Khan, it was about, you had only about
Yes.
10 days, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Did you feel like, oh God, I don't think I can pull it off, or did you have like any self doubt?
My self doubt was only about the garment reaching in time.
Okay.
It was not about me finishing it, because I knew I can finish it. But if for it to reach Los Angeles in time was the most difficult part. And couriers were not, they said it will take 5 days when I had only 10 days to make the garment. So you will not believe, I Ubered the outfit from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And
Okay.
I spent, yeah, I literally Ubered it because I had no other option. The trial was happening on a particular date, and I luckily found couriers told me that they will take time. So I luckily found out someone who was traveling to San Francisco, the Bay
Okay.
Area. So I was like, okay, let me at least get it there, and then we'll figure it out. And I sent it across to San Francisco. And I have a lot of, how San Francisco, it's like mostly Indians.
Yeah.
So I happen to have quite a few friends in San Francisco, and one of them came forward to help. She said she can overnight it to Los Angeles.
Okay.
But luckily, there was some mix-up there, and she couldn't pick it up on the night itself. So she picked it up only in the morning or something, and then it will not reach in time. So I told her, please just Uber it. I will pay how much ever it costs, because it's a extremely huge opportunity, and not
Yeah.
everyone gets that opportunity. And I had to do whatever it takes to make sure it reaches on time, and I did just that.
Okay. So how did it feel when you saw him walking down in your creation?
Oh God, it was, I literally had to pinch myself. I couldn't believe it, because, okay, every designer, when they start their career, sometimes they do hope at some point your creations will reach a particular height. But for me, I did not expect it this soon, and especially a scene as huge as Oscar. So
Yeah.
it was very overwhelming, and I'm extremely grateful to Venk Modur for choosing me and for trusting in me, for having faith in my work and wanting to promote South Asian designers in the US of
Yeah.
America. Yeah.
How was it received after that?
Oh, it was very well received, and Venk Modur came up with a lot more possibilities of working for a lot more of American Indian actors and celebrities there in Los Angeles. But unfortunately, because of Corona and the lockdown, the whole
Yeah.
thing halted. We were supposed to work together on 2 or 3 projects, but now all of them fell through because of the current situation. But hopefully,
Okay.
once all of that goes down, we'll be able to get back to what we were doing.
Okay. That actually
Yeah.
brings to my next question. What do you think is stopping or, South Indian designers to be considered on par as the North Indian designers? Or should I even make that distinction? You feel there's no such distinction?
There is such a distinction. Even people from Chennai, right, when they get married or when they have an event, they worry a lot about the brand name, the tag, the label.
Yeah.
They would rather spend a lot more money on a Sabyasachi outfit than spend half of the money for a local designer. So, which is something that I've found very difficult to digest. And I understand it's their wedding; they should wear what they want to wear. But you know uh, when there is other functions and other events where they can support local talent, I really think people should take a look and notice the local talent and appreciate and support them for sure.
Okay. But what else
Yeah.
do you think can South Indian designers do to be seen more on a national level?
I think one extremely important step would be to take part in these fashion weeks like Lakme Fashion Week, Amazon
Yeah.
Fashion Week, and all of that. I think that puts you on the fashion map of the nation as such. It gives you a lot of visibility, not just for what to say celebrities. It also puts you on. Gives you a lot of visibility to multi-designer store owners, to fashion enthusiasts, and a lot more people, which also brings you a lot of business and a lot of traction. So I think that is one of the biggest steps that one should take, and that is the next step that I'm hoping I can take, probably in the next couple of years, that I can take part in either in
Okay.
Lakme or Amazon Fashion Week, hopefully.
Okay. Who
Yeah.
are your idols in Indian designers?
I don't have an idol in Indian designers. When I started designing, who served as an inspiration to me were two designers. One is Alexander McQueen, and the other one is Elie Saab. I like the wearability of Elie Saab's clothes,
Yeah.
the sheer beauty and the elegance of his clothes. And Alexander McQueen, just the balls that he had to make such outrageous designs, and the concepts behind each and every fashion show was just simply fascinating. So these two people were extremely good inspiration for me. Indian designers, I have a lot of respect and a lot of admiration for a lot of designers, but I don't think they've inspired me in any sense. In the sense, like, I appreciate them, I like their designs, I'm able to appreciate their work. But were they a reason for me to get into fashion? Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about, you openly coming out and saying, yes, I'm a gay man.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you, do you still face stereotyping? The sense is like, oh, he's a designer, of course he's gay. Do you face those remarks even now?
Not to my face, at least.
Okay.
Maybe behind my back, but which I don't care about. And I don't really give a lot of attention to what people are saying behind my back, because that's been happening in Chennai for a very long time. Rumors and back talking, backbiting, and a lot of things have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when I started to gain a lot of traction, a lot of people were offended by it, and a lot of rumors were spread, and I just paid no heed to it. Some of the rumors bothered me, but most of them did not. And I don't know, I just did not pay any heed to them, and I just concentrated on my work and let people say what they want to say. If I put a lot of effort into my work, I'm sure it will show no matter what. So that was my, motto or a mantra per se.
Right. And
Yeah.
you said your parents, your family per se, have always been of great support. Whether
Yeah.
it was eventually when you decided to switch over as a fashion designer, or coming out saying I'm gay. Um,
Mhm.
Once they got on board, how is it? Do you still find it difficult? Do you face a lot of heat from, say, extended family or acquaintances, is it hard living in Chennai, especially? It's still kind of considered a more traditional city, to be gay in Chennai.
Yes. It definitely is, but when you have the right families by your side, I think none of that matters, because my parents not only accepted me for who I am, but they also defended me in situations. And in terms of, like, my mom would tell my relatives openly that, you know what, my son cannot get married to your daughter, or who, like, if they are coming for, like, like a proposal or whatever, because he likes to live with men. He likes to,
Okay.
she openly says it. She doesn't hide the fact. She doesn't feel ashamed. She's like, this is the truth, and I don't feel any shame in speaking the truth. So
That requires a lot of guts on her part, yeah.
definitely, and for her, it all boils down to my happiness, and she just wants me to be happy at the end of the day. She doesn't mind who I live with. She just wants me to be happy. So with them by my side, I do not worry about how the society or my extended relatives are going to accept me or take me at all, because she sort of, like, gives me this power that, you know what, go do what you want to do. I'm there by you. And when I have that, I'm not worried at all. I just go one day at a
Yeah,
time, and it's great.
that's nice. Hopefully more parents
Yeah.
will see that.
I hope so too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So what are you working on now? What are your plans once, things kind of come back to normalcy?
I have so many client orders that are pending that I have to finish. That's the top of my list. That's one thing. And collections, during the lockdown, I've sketched so many collections, Mati, it's not even funny. So already one is already in process. We've
Okay.
just finished. It's a cotton line. It's an ethnic line for what to say. It's very block prints, and it's vibrant colors. It's sort of like has a sophisticated chicness about it. So that's a collection we've already done with it, yet to shoot it and put it out there. So that's
Okay.
the first step I'm going to do after we get back to a little bit of normalcy, and then start on my other collections that are in the pipeline, which I'm very, very excited about.
Okay. Is it been hard to support your tailors at this time? Because obviously everything has kind of come to a kind of a halt. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. It's been hard, but you know what? If they don't have anybody else but me, in the sense, like, they work for me, they are loyal, employees of mine. And if I don't support them in a time of, despair and difficulty, I don't feel any good in doing what I do. So I'm more than happy to help them, because they've all stuck by me during difficult times, and it's only fair that I stick by them during difficult times.
Yeah. So I have a couple of rapid questions. So I wanted to ask you these are on a lighter note.
Okay.
A book you would gift to a dear friend.
A book I would give to a dear friend will be The Book of Fate. It's by an Iranian woman. It's an
Okay.
autobiography about how communism, how she perceived communism when it all started. So it's a beautiful book, and it
Okay.
speaks about how it impacted her. It's amazing. So that would be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you got to meet yourself as an 80-year-old, what would you
Okay.
ask him? What was the one question you would ask him about your life?
80-year-old, huh? I would ask him, what the hell you still doing alive?
By then, 80 would be quite young.
What would I ask my 80-year-old self? I will ask him, do you have any regrets?
Okay. That's a good question.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
What do you see your alter ego doing?
Alter ego. I didn't know that I have one.
If you had
uh,
one.
okay. I sort of have to, if I had one. Okay, my alter ego will just be a nomad.
All right.
Yeah, just going from one city to the other, doing odd jobs, and basically living life by the day, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about the Indian fashion industry, what would it be?
One thing, so many things.
The topmost.
give importance to the talent and not the label. That's something that I really would like to change about the in the fashion industry in general.
Okay, that's a nice
Yeah,
one actually. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Trousseau or couture? What would you choose?
Couture.
Okay, because that lets you play around with your quirky designs.
Yeah, so with trousseau, exactly with trousseau, there's always a restriction. With couture, there is no, and it's my strength. Couture is my absolute strength. I like doing trousseau as well, but it's not like couture for sure.
Okay, but you were saying for you, trousseau is more bread and butter.
That's right. My couture line, nobody will buy in Chennai. Nobody
Okay.
has. They're still hanging in my store. I do them only for my fashion shows. And
Okay.
after the fashion show, it all comes back to my store and it's there because they're all not something that the Indian market or the Chennai market will be able to relate to. So, yeah, it will not be my bread and butter for sure, as
Okay.
of now.
All right.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
When I wake up in the morning, I play Carnatic music and I do my morning chores.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sort of puts me in a great spirit, and it sort of sets the tone for my day, right? At least I feel that. So puts me in a good mood. So I do that.
Okay. Did you have any training in Carnatic music?
Not at all. I'm not a singer, but at
Okay.
all. I just like listening to music because a few of my friends are singers and a few of my friends are dancers. And so I listen to a lot of the songs when they perform. And I sort of tend to, want to listen to it when I wake up in the morning because it sort of puts me in a good spirit.
All right.
Yeah.
My last question. If tomorrow you woke up as another designer, who would it be?
Wow. Okay. Sorry, I know it's a rapid fire round because it's a question
No, it's
like this
okay.
needs a lot of thought.
Yeah. It could be someone who's is not there anymore or someone who's still
Of
living.
course.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I really would like to be to live in the mind of Alexander McQueen, to understand the creative process that went through his mind when he created all those masterpieces. So I would
Okay.
love to say him for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. Thanks so much, Ashwin. It was such a fun
Pleasure.
conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Marty, for having me. And thanks for all the questions. I have done interviews, but I feel so much comfortable talking to you. And there was a really nice flow. Thanks for that.
Oh,
Thanks for
thank you
making
so
me feel
much. That
comfortable.
that means a lot. Yeah. Thanks so much. If you enjoyed that, please subscribe to the podcast. It's available on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. You can also reach me on Instagram at Maharani Talks. Catch you soon.